welcome back to my hammer build. All of the bits are all over the place now because, you know, I've left it for a week. Now I have changed my mind in some places about the design, whereas, I don't know, I've been given a week to think about it. So, yeah, it's been changed a little bit. Which is fine, I guess. Well, it's not even a week, is it? It's like 5 days. So, this bit here ends, well, it's a bit thick by there, but I'm going to add a little bit on the end and curve it off. And this bit here is a little bit too thick as well. So, that's going to need a bit of a redo. It's okay, I didn't stick it down very well, but I'm just going to remove the section underneath. Hopefully causing minimum damage to the actual thing. There you are, and that's separated out. Unfortunately, there's no way really to save the lighting in this room, so... Oof, don't do that. This is where we found out I actually stuck something pretty well, and as a result, it's become a mess. I mean, that's fine. We can live with that, right? Hold them there for a second. Refrain from touching the hot glue. Apparently it's decided to be warm today. Also, after the last session when I put in the LEDs, they were pretty bad. I mean, to describe them as awful, they went in okay, and I wouldn't consider them as bad like that. But, it's like, basically they cut my thumb to shreds. Which, well... I'll buy slightly better ones next time, which all the cutting was done by the end of the wire, where they'd got the LEDs and just not bothered stick. What was it? Basically, they'd just cut the end off and just left it, right? So they were just razor sharp wire, and as I was pulling them through and like, what's the thing called? So I was looming it all up, it just slashed my thumb to pieces. So be careful of that. But again, I mean I have slight concerns about the thickness of the wire, but the fact that they're all in parallel, yeah, that means they're carrying far more current than I want either. But I mean, this thing's not going to a con, I'm not going to be leaving it on all day, so I think it'll be okay without, you know, being dangerous. Okay, it's slightly better like that, but I still consider this area up here too thick. But that's going to be solved by a little bit more brutal process than, you know, I'm used to. But I'm going to cut another one of these, stick it on the end, then cut a curve onto the end of this so it goes out thickness and then curls off a bit more. which means I'm going to have to go and get the big bit of foam and the big pipe again. Which I mean, it's just on the other side of the room, so there's nothing to really worry about having to go retrieve-wise, but yeah. Yeah, unfortunately there isn't really a middle ground for lighting. The more I complain, the worse it sounds. So one last one. Wow, that is loud and obnoxious. I wonder what this downpipe was bought for. It's definitely too big for one of mine. Huh. That one's empty. Which one did I lose the pen in? This one. The one I want to use, obviously. There you go. Whichever one would it be? The one I want. It's where it can be most obnoxious. It's just a spiral of glue in there. Thing is, because I'm leaving that thing so long, it's just getting too hot. Okay, and just squeeze that down. I'll give that a few minutes to dry because, you know, it's best to give this stuff some time. While I'm waiting, I'm going to grab these two. Because these two are the bits that go on top of the hammerhead. And I'm going to cut the light releasing bit that goes underneath. I mean, it may seem silly drawing on them, but all the bits with text on are going to be facing downwards. Like I say, this stuff is real easy to cut compared to like regular foam. But it has to be really low density for you to be able to get light through them, so... Also, I'm planning to stop the bleed out through the sides of this by literally painting this bit black. Just do the edges black and the light shouldn't come through and we're all good. But in the original design you can see that the lights in these bits are coming in like only semicircle, so it ends up being around that position to this position and end up cut a bit like this. I believe one of them goes a little further, but you end up with a C-cut like that you can't see because of the lighting. It's okay, you'll see it later when I cut them. But I I also have to avoid the area where it's going to be supported because no light's coming through that. So I can't have it too close to, I've got to have it over 5 mil from the edge, but not too thick. Oh, stop the hole. Crap. Okay, so nobody saw that. I most certainly did not just overcut by a horrific amount and make it look awful. My intention was, if it was going to run away like that, it would be inwards. But I guess it's not. Okay, so you put it together like that just to see. And what we need to do is cut a little bit off here in order to maintain the correct distance. Then when you put it down like that, you can see that's a pretty decent following. So which way are you meant to go? Like that? Yeah. So we start off like that. Get the main center bit, or get the main circle bit in the center down. I don't mind overshoot if it's on the top bit, but if it's on the bottom bit, then we've got trouble. Because I mean, we can cut off any overshoots off the actually top bit. We want to be right size, bottom bit's okay for overshoots. Oops. I'm just come around the top. And run around like that. Okay, and we end up with a it's a bit over a semicircle, but it's the amount that we need to cut out. Those circles are really hard to cut out with a knife, so let's give it a shot. Careful with that. Okay, that's what I was hoping would happen, that it'd follow the knife mark. You know, instead of cutting straight through the edge like I did last time, because that was bad. That little bit. It ends up on there, but okay, so we need to flip both of them over so they're facing that way. Please let that be at this direction. Okay, nothing I can't deal with. goes on like this, I believe, from what I saw. Yeah. You can't see it, but this stuff like strings off real easy, and that's why it was following my hand. So we end up with 2 semicircles. Now, of course, the sections under here are actually done, so just used to a little bit tidy up on the edge for anything that's exposed isn't supposed to be. Like that. And that's supposed to be a forward-facing section, so ends up like that. Okay, so we're a little bit heavy on the blue side there. It doesn't look like much at the moment, but sort of the point. And we just arrange this bit so it goes in correctly, or as intended. And we just do a quick run around. Okay, and a little bit of a squeeze, make sure all the glue's in contact. As you can see, there's a little bit too much gap around there, but that's nothing we can't handle. Yeah. 1, 2, 3 batteries. Check that on like that. Grab the other battery pack. It's 1, 2. I mean, I've still got I'm going to put a little bit back there to stop, that glow happening, because it's too intense. That's going to be covered over, so it doesn't really matter, you can see that. But, looks pretty good. But if I can leave bits out while it's being constructed, I will, because it's easier that way. Wow, it pulled out again. That still looks pretty bad though. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back and address the obvious problems. Just this. Ooh, that blade's loose. bit more, and a little bit more of this one. And it's a little bit less horrifically misshapen this time. Of course, I'm going to go around and do some more correcting on that later. I mean, at least I'll say I will. In theory, I'll be doing it. In practice, I might. Yeah, because I'm leaving that gun on for too long. It's getting too hot by quite a bit. Here we are. It's now got a relatively curved end. It's at least as messy as the rest of it, but this staff ain't done yet. Right, so one of the big problems with this bit is not actually a problem. It's in the way a little bit, but that's because I haven't wrapped it up or anything yet. But this bit of LED strip is going to be running down the side of the handle, but I can only do that once the handle's attached. But my mess up is that I need this blade to be in there on a pivot. Now, that sounds easy enough, but I also have to run a pivot through here. And that's a hollow gap, both sides. So what I'm going to have to do is drill it, and I'd spend about half the week deciding how to correct this. So what I'm going to do, start off there, do a cut there, and I'm just going to have to pull it loose and hope for the best. How far in does this need to go? There. Oof. Okay, this is going to be a challenging cut because the outside edge of it is here. Well, I can't really start one that's only got half. Let's just cut that down. Cut that down. If that's not enough, I'm going to have to try again. But at this point, all that support's fine. It doesn't actually need this section. Okay, I'm going to have to cut a little more. It's okay, this entire section's hidden. Unfortunately, I only need to drill one side. Fortunately. that's one side. And now we've got to go through to the other. But we have to do it via this blade because this is going to be in the center. Okay, so that's about right. Yeah, if you look through from the top, you can just see where they're meeting. So that is in the center of the mark where I want it. I should have marked this enough that I can drill it separately. Once I'm through this section, I've got to go through the bottom as well. Heck, that's hot. Some of the hottest material I've ever drilled here. And that's those two done. Okay, and now for layer 3. Try to keep it straight while drilling. So I only need to drill it through far enough that I can pull out the plug, then it's done. Okay, so I've marked up the pipe at the depth of the two layers together. That plug should now be loose. Well, okay, it is now loose enough that it's out the way, and we've got a hole drilled in the back. And my wrist hates me. I think next time I just use a drill. Oh, okay, it's like that. That's fair enough. I'll go back on. get that out. Mark that off because that's the final length of pipe we're going to want for the hinge. But before I do that, I need to do the top of this blade and curve it off, because once it's in, I ain't changing anything on it. You know, because if I make any more mistakes, I'm in trouble. Oh. I mean, worse mistakes than attempting to unscrew that, or to screw that in, which, yeah. Anyone who follows me knows my joints are weak and don't like being twisted like that. Even I should know that, but I'm just dull and don't pay attention to these things. Oh, I've left them in the other room. Okay, I'll be back very, very shortly after grabbing something. Okay, that's everything I needed. This mask, eye protection. If you don't use eye protection, you're a twit. You're also going to be a blind one after about 5 minutes. But I don't really know how else to put eye protection. Is really important. Look after yourself. I mean, feel free to mock me for injuring myself. I do it all the time. But this bit gets a bit loud down to power tools, so stuff happens, but headphone users, be warned. Oh. Yes, I'm cradling my wrist. Yep, it hurts that much. Why do I got caught on there? Well, that I wasn't expecting. Here you go. A little bit of the protector was missing. Okay, will do. It's not the best, but it'll do. Makes a heck of a mess when you do that. Oh. Really, we're still on full-size brush or nothing. At some point, I'll stop being lazy and get an actual brush for the studio. Like a little table brush, but... I mean, that would involve me not being lazy, and heck, am I lazy. And there's one more hole that I have to drill because essentially I didn't think of it beforehand and I sort of need to do it. So where's my pipe? Gee, no, I'm not going to use that this time. I don't care if it ends up being a little ugly. Oh, come on. You tell me I forgot my battery. Okay, this hole's going to be a little bit more ugly, but it's also not going to put me in pain for the next few weeks. This is the hole saw. This is a much easier way of doing this. Here, one hole. Now I can tell you exactly why I did wrong there. If you drill half one side, then swap half the other, it works a lot nicer. I've got a little chip out there, which was unintentional. I mean, yeah, that type of thing will happen. That's also why I use the pipe method, because it's much nicer, gives you much better results. But I'm in enough pain as it is, I don't really feel like putting myself through more for what is very little gain. Let's grab the handsaw. Device. As long as it's relatively straight and doesn't go above the black line, we're okay. Okay, and that's our little hinge. Now I need to get all that dirt off the desk again. So I'm still being silly, but now there may be objections to just using a large broom like this in order to do off the desk, because I'm just sweeping it all onto the floor. But I go around to hoover everything at the end, so it's fine. It all gets tidied at the end, but for now. So we get the back of the hammer. Get the blade and stick the two together. And now that's in, what we do, get some glue, Okay, yeah, that's definitely through. Put glue around it so that sets. Get this bit ready to be reattached because we don't want it to look like this actually happened. Okay, put that in. Okay, and stick that bit back on top so it looks like this has always been there. It's okay, no one will notice if you're careful. And there's how to clear up a complete and utter mess up, which I did last time. So we now have a large blade on the back of the hammerhead, which is fine because we're nearly done with it anyway. Now I'm going to add 2 little forks onto these because I want these to clip on underneath, give them a bit more rigidity. So if we do them, cut a little bit off the end. So if we do it like that, that should go in okay. Let's just do that on there, and do another 2 on here. Last one. Okay, and those will hopefully be able to slide in underneath and clip these down. But we have to wait for them to dry in order to find that out. Hopefully it won't interfere with any of the box ears like those, and hold this all in place. When it happens, we'll know, okay? Right. So now we can go around, get some of this that's a little bit extraneous. Okay, and flip. This one's a lot nicer. Okay, like that. But it's fine. Right. Now on the back of this, I'm going to need to put a bit of foam, just to, you know, stop this lighting section just blinding the user. It's entirely aesthetics and nothing really to worry about, but how long is this? I put it on last time and I know it should be 5. 6. Okay, so that's a 6mm circle, and Gee, would it be nice if I'd used measurements? Do you measure from the end? Of course you don't. Okay, so if we do it, it's 6, we have 2.5 to either side, which means that's 11. So if we do an 11 circle, so if we make it a 12 circle, it's 12 mil, and that's 12 mil. Let's make us some more 12 mil marks, just so we know we're safe. Okay, so if we mark down 6 in each direction, then we'll end up with a centre point. I don't know, a gigantic hammerhead makes drawing the circle harder. Down a bit. Right, so it's 3 from the center, so it's 1, 6, 3, 6, 1, 3, 6, 1. Okay, it's good enough. 3, 6, 1. Draw the circle. And then cut out the square. Would have been easier to cut the square earlier, wouldn't it? There's a 6 mil circle. Cuts like that. Then with the head of the hammer, I've moved the LEDs back so we can comfortably fit this round. Okay, evidently I did not do 6 very well, but it was the intent. So if we just cut it a little bit more. So this is just cut like a little bit off. I'm cutting off about 2-3 mil, something like that. But if you want to measure it and mark it out, that's fine. It always works better when you actually measure things. Then just swing this round. See if the collar fits, which it does. It's a little bit too big, but nothing where it's going to be really unpleasant. So now I've just, got to stick it around this. So I'm going to basically run a bead around of hot glue around the outside, and then wow, okay, yeah, get rid of the tape. Whoops. When you have tape sealing something, remember to take it off when you're done. Okay. Now, I'm going to aim the split downwards. Yeah, in the end I'm going to aim the split downwards because it's where it's least likely to be seen. Don't forget, half making props look good is hiding, where you've put seams and stuff. Because if you don't hide your seams, everyone can see them. And stick that on. At the moment that looks awful because it's just spread out over the surface, but once it's dried we cut these bits off and we just have a soft glowy area at the back. All it does really is reduce the intensity of the LEDs for the person holding it. Clean up the bit of pink or tape left on. Now I'm not so bothered about what's back there because of something that's coming up next anyway. So, because if you look on the original, there is a ribbed section on around here. So I'm going to block up those little air gaps with the ribs. Or if you look, you still have a glow, but no intense light shining in your face. Looks pretty good. It'll work. How long it'll work for is debatable, but you know. Okay, who can see where I've done wrong? It's supposed to look like that with this on the inside. You know that bit I really skewered so it never come loose? Time to get that out. It's okay. Everything I'm doing here is fixable and replaceable even when I completely mess it up. I put my sword on backwards. So there you go. Nobody does it perfect. Oh, that is a big ring I'm going to need to pull. Do I have like some big heavy duty pliers on me? Those are wire cutters, not pliers. One large toolkit. That's what I've got. Small pliers. just in case. Okay, I am lacking big mean F-off pliers, so that'll be useful then. So, whoops, and alike. That's not good. So, yeah, let's get these out. Will this work? Please let this work. Okay, so I bent that out. Fortunately, I never skewed the bottom, so I could just pull out through there. It's the right way now. Well, that was done. So, I mean, this is easy enough to correct, this section, because it's just clear off all the bits that you didn't do right. Like that. Then I just need a bit of foam to go over it. Like this. Like that. So we just get a bit of replacement to go over it. See, like that. Or if you overshoot a little bit and it's a little bit too big, because that's what scissors are for. Put your blade on properly next time, you fool. Okay, so now I need to do some rings on here, which I'm going to use this for. Wow, where do I even put these? This one is literally the lowest grade craft foam I have. So it's just over 6 times for that. 1824. So I'll give that one a straight line to go on. Then 24 up. Up, yep. Just continue on like that. And get the cutting edge, because that's going to be far more efficient for cutting. Same knife, consistency. I found my little brush. We're all good. And next one. Okay, now we can chuck that back. Now each of these are longer than they need to be, but that's just so I know I can safely put them on. Now when you hand make anything, they're all going to be slightly different widths, lengths, everything. But they're close enough. I mean, you really can't tell which one's which there. So it's pretty good. So if we do them like that, got a ring. I think in the end we're probably going to end up with 3 in here, so I've got way more than I need. But it'll be okay. Then once you get to the end, cut and stick. A little bit more off, it's just a tiny little bit. It'll be fine. Again, the gap between the head and the body always looks so big, but I mean, when you actually look at it and put stuff in there, it's like, this is so small. So let's just do this. And just wrap it around, same as before. And a little cut there. Okay, that's ring number 2. Because it's all grey on grey, this is really hard to see on camera. Okay, and I'm just going to use this little offcut here as the last ring, just to cover up the edge there. And yes, when I say cover it up, I mean hide the fact that it exists, because it doesn't look that pretty. But either way, from there you can now see that's relatively surfaced. They're not completely parallel, but it's nothing you won't hate, or nothing you should hate. Everything seems to be going fine. And in these cases, this is B. Guess that's got way more sticking power now. And A should be the same for the other side, but it's just that little section there, sticking them together. Right. Now the next bit up is making less of a mess of this going down the pipe. But that also means... Actually, no, should I do that bit now? That's the question. Because I think if I do this bit here first, because if you look at that, it's hideous, goes full of breaks. What I need to do is just get a length of this. Like that. Ah, okay, yeah, when you can't see it, you can't see it. So forget that bit, cut it out, and then bevel it, yes. Then we cut that bit so it slants towards the middle. So forget that. And stick it on like that. It will make it appear like it's slanted down properly. I'm not going to do the same on the other side. I'm just going to go with that for Dremel at the end to smooth off there and there so it's not 90. But the inside I'm going to put a bit more effort into. Yeah. Oh, come on. Okay. Yeah, 10mm foam with scissors is very difficult to cut, it turns out. more off over here. Just get a little bit extra off, so so stick it like that. Then we end up with one solid piece along the top. Okay, and come here. Just squeeze it all in. Be careful of the hot glue because it has hot in the title. I mean, sort of obvious by now. Okay, so it's a little bit better shaped now. I mean, I still have to do along there and make that look a little better. So we'll get that section done and cut off this bit because I still haven't. I mean, what I really want to do is just get on with the lights already because that's the fun bit, which looks the best. But if I skip out all of these sections on top and the rest of that, I have to do that with the giant staff attached. I can't believe something that simple is going to work. So what I need here is a little section that comes in and forms a U here. This one I'm going to use the thicker foam or the dense foam. So I'm going to run that down there, run it to about here. I mean, that works. So if we mark it out, so we just say it starts up there and it curves out into a U shape there. Just do a little semicircular cutout. Yay! Little semicircular cutout. Check that up there. So we end up with that, which you can't see because of the lighting. So we just cut that bit out the top. There you go. Just a layer over the top. Minimal cutting. And sticking that there will solve that problem in one. Where is it? There you go. And that all fits. So we just tack that on down there. Tape. Okay, and now that's stuck on. Again, that's going to involve some correcting with scissors later. Yeah, scissors is, but it'll be okay. Now, for one of the most awkward bits. Yeah. Connecting this giant shaft to the hammerhead. I have to go stop all that glue going everywhere. And aim that bit backwards just because it's the seam. And that'll take like 20 minutes to dry now. Because it's all sealed inside, it's going to be insulated, so. Right. So now that's done in theory. Let's just give that something to rest on. Now what we need is to spiral this down here. But we need to do that in something that's not going to show its obvious, just an LED strip, right? I'm sorry, it was overhanging too much. I don't like it. So what I'm going to do is put that back here and put that out of the way safely. Then grab a little bit of this. And I'm going to work out exactly how much it is, or how much it's going to take to surround the strap. Sorry, now why am I doing that so close? I mean, I have that whole thing to work with. Yeah, about that diameter fit around it, it'll be okay. So how thick is it before we start? 6 centimeters, obviously. seal it on the back. So it's a 6 centimeter diameter tube. Probably ends up being closer to 5 once it's all stuck together like this, but then we just stick this tube through it, or stick the LED strip through it like such. Of course, it's going to be going around it like that. So it's going to start off up there. Of course, that bit aimed downwards. And then just slowly curve around. So we'll find that, whatever length we need. So that's going to mark out 6 centimeters longer. It's a square. And I don't really like the LD as much as I do just regular craft foam, because this just, it feels dusty, and I don't know why. I'm sure it works better, but it just doesn't feel right. For this, I'm just marking out a strip, just so. Now this is going to be much longer than it needs to be. But if you know anyone who actually cares about that anymore. I do, but because it's a however long feels right, and then a lot of stuff's getting cut, it doesn't really feel like something I can just put a limit on straight away. So if I make it too short, it's going to be too harsh of a bend. It's going to be too, if it's too long, it'll be too light of a bend. Just put that together. Just keep it going. And let's just continue on. So generally just make this a full length tube. And I'm only doing a little bit at a time to avoid, well, it sticking all over the place and falling apart as I'm pulling it out. just run it down the length. Roll like that. And the last little bit. Now with this, I'm going to hide the whole thing. I really hope that's good enough cut. Okay, so now I'm just feeding it through. Where have I got to? There. Okay, we're past. I've got to actually get it through. Something incredibly rubbery through something else that's incredibly rubbery. We're up to there. Okay, and we're running through again. Running clear, all good. How far have we made it? We're down to there. What's got stuck? How far are we? Oh, we're up to there. Only got that much left. It's about 2/3 of the way through. I can't believe it's stuck this close to the end though. So it's to here. So there's nothing down there actually blocking it. Come on, go in. Okay, so I cheated. I popped the seam halfway. Okay, you can stop rattling. There you go. Okay, so basically that's going to stick on about there, and then it's going to slowly rotate around just enough so that it doesn't kink. So I think I've already got it further than it needs to go for that. So pull this out, and basically I'm going to re-thread it from up here. Scissors. Try to get into the right orientation coming out. None of this is something that I can't fix. It's okay, I will figure out a way to make this work. Okay, so if we just do this a little bit, a little bit off the top. We can stick that down, and then tack a little bit there. And swing it around. There, a little bit there, a little bit here. Then flip it over. Okay, so we put that little bit there. Then this is going to end up on a pillar by here. So we now extract the wire. Okay, so I haven't made a final decision yet about the positioning of the RGB, or the length of the RGB strip. I'm not going to cut it. We just do that. Then we need a little pillar, so That there, we'll be okay. Stick that down. Then, because this is in the worst place possible, okay, so there onto the side panel, then that connects on. A little bit round like that. And stick on. I know it's hard to see because of the just how big and bulky this thing's getting, but that little circle there is the bit I added. This little bit of LED strip is going to be running into it. So it just cuts a little hole here for it. Then that's actually where it's drawn. That's on the cut seam, so. Okay, let's poke that down with something that's not my finger this time. If I'm burnt enough today. Now over the top of that, I just need a little circle. That's way too small. We don't need that because we don't need any light coming out. That's the wrong size. Okay, I just need a little bit to cover that. So if I just get enough and run it like that, that'll be okay for now. Okay, apparently I clicked something. Whoops. Don't know how I did that. Yeah, can't even reach this bit. Now, according to the manufacturer, you can cut it there. It's fine. That is exactly where the marking is to cut. Now, if this just goes up in smoke, we know what I did wrong. Oh. There you go. Okay. Just put it in properly. That's one in. The other one's going to be much easier because I don't have to do any of that rooting. Sorry, there's a little bit I had to deal with there. Going pretty well. I've got some good lighting on there. Good lighting on there. The glow's working quite effectively. Definitely see it's all illuminated. This needs a little stop though to stop it going any further there. But I'll solve that. I think I'll just put a little like bit of foam across there. But yeah. Definitely lit up. I think I'm going to cut a little trench in the back here for that wire to go through. Because I'm not happy pushing it in that far, because it doesn't like to come out. As you can see where I cheated in there. Lights off. Wow, we're at 2 hours. What the heck? Right. So that's going to get painted a bit grey just to cover it up at the end. How deep? There. A little bit more. Okay, and pull the blade out the way. There you go. That should be an effective start. I mean, yeah, if you really try to force it, it won't work. But I mean, it's a prop, not a real thing, okay? Should be able to come back at this bit by now. Okay, yeah, don't use the stop yet, it's still drying. But yeah, that's all sticking. B, I think, needs to cut up at that end. That'll be fine. That's just to get the thing in, so it's nothing big. Right, anything else that you need to deal with? Oh yeah, the studs, aren't there, that I'm forgetting. There's supposed to be like little studs at the front. Oh, don't tell me I cut into the wrong one. I mean, they're both relatively similar, so... We've got that, but we need the 2 studs here, 2 studs back there. Recut those. Let's go tidy up this a little bit. Surprised it's how effective just a little snip like this on the edge will really change the look of it. Okay, so we've got 2 ones there, 2 smaller ones back there. So I need another 2 big drills. So I need another 2 of these for the front, and then I need 2 smaller ones for the back. That'll work. Both of those are okay. Stop using the stop. So attack like that. A little bit there. And then I need 2 small ones for the back. And where is my small pipe? I mean, I haven't used that thing in ages. So I'm just going to look for a little plastic pipe that can cut this last. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 2 of them. I think this one will actually be a little bit too small. I'm sure I have one in between the 2, but... Okay. Small, medium, big. I'm not using large because I have a large. Oh, it's not. She bottoms out. One. Two. Three. It is possible to do two at once like this, but ill-advised. Because when you start layering them up like that, they just start getting stuck. Okay, flip it over. If anything, they're too tall. And we know what we do about that. Especially this late into a session. I mean, it works fine. Just gonna pop these off. That bit works perfectly. The little stop works just fine. That needs resticking a little bit, but nothing that I can't handle. Section there on the back that is barely visible, but we've now got a U cut here and a straight cut there. Okay. And we should put a limiter up here as well. No, we can't. If I put a limiter up there, it'll stop it moving completely, and I don't want that. Whereas I can put this on. So that may seem a little silly, but once that's stuck, it means you have to apply quite a bit of force to move this, meaning that it'll stay in place for longer. But I do need to make another one just so it levels out. sure I put them both on the same side. And they basically act like a friction brake. So it'll hold its position like such. And even in vertical, it'll only move a little bit, which is fine. I can accept that. And the one thing left, well, not one thing, there's quite a bit left because I've got some correcting to do all over the place. And little bits here that need looking at. Okay, so that bit there's smoothed out, that bit there's okay. That bit there's okay. Anywhere else where it looks particularly bad, where I need to level it out a bit? There. Yeah, that bit along the bottom looks absolutely horrendous. And if you look, it's so rough. But also you won't ever see that, so I don't even know if I'm going to bother with dealing with it. Then, yeah. Last bit up, put an edge on this. Turn off the glue gun because we're not going to need that anymore. Now, this is the bit that I hate doing because if you mess this up, I mean, it can be a disaster if you mess this bit up. Especially if you cut to it yourself like that, heck. Okay, and back off to the side. Careful. Just readjust the grip. Okay, and it's not a sharp edge, but it's now cut so you can see a blade on each part, which is good enough. Whoopsie, it's the wrong end. But it's now done in most of the rough phase, so what's up next is okay. Up next, I have to design a little keychain for the end, which I cannot remember the design of, so I'll have to do next time. But that's only going to take like 5 minutes, so it'll be fine. I think I'm actually done for today there. So I'm just gonna put the lights back in. 5. So we can slip you in there. And your little control pack goes up there. Running the wire through that little cut. The little cut makes it a lot easier. Okay, and that's in. Now I do intend to have something to stick it down like that in the end. Like a little magnet there or something. But for now, we'll accept that this is sort of a thing. Knock the blue lights on. And yeah, these are incredibly obvious. It's an LED strip, but I mean, it's not bad. We're now 9 hours in and we've got that. Now, next time we're going to be painting and generally doing little bits of detail to add on, but I mean, that's it for now. Hopefully see you in a few days. Bye.